Mate, usually, come a Monday or a Tuesday when you're scrolling through nominations for the weekend's racing that is ahead, because we do record on Wednesday. That's the big lift that we go. It's a significant effort from us, so we have to do the form early, or at least start the shortlist. There was a significant omission from one of my favourite races on the calendar, which, I'll be honest, the last couple of editions have been absolutely dross. The Epsom Handicap.
Absolutely dross. There was a significant omission. I thought I was so much better than everyone else getting on Gringotts. Prior to his resuming race where he ran a slashing second, probably should have won, and a big price of $31 in futures.
Yeah.
Only to find out Kieran Maher is not accepting in the Epsom Handicap with this race, with this horse.
Why would he not do that?
Because, unbeknownst to me, there is a listed race called the Allen Brown in Sydney next week over 1,400 metres. That is worth $1.5 million, the exact same prize money as the Epsom Handicap.
Right.
What? Huh? Like, what? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I understand the reasoning why Kieran Maher and Aussie Kier, who's the predominant owner of Gringotts, are taking that option because arguably they're thinking, we'll have another run at 1,400 metres in the listed race, which is worth just as much as the Epsom, then we'll take him to that fucking Big Dance Bull Yarn, which is on Melbourne Cup Day, right? Like, I get, as an owner, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
And as a trainer, that makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is, in what inebriated state of mind was PVL what was he doing when he decided to upgrade that race to that much prize money and put it a week after the Epsom Handicap? Because surely 1 + 1 = 2, and he's literally got his bloody 22 out of his pocket and just shot himself in the foot because it's just cannibalised the Epsom.
Yeah.
Gringotts would have started $7 or $8. I reckon he would have been very prominent in the market. And now he's not there. He's not there because he's going to this shitty listed race the next week. Why did they do that to themselves?
Don't know. I don't have an answer for you, but it's a bloody good. It's a good case you make.
Because
it's frustrating.
The only people who are suffering are the punters, and because the quality isn't there as much, and therefore, if the punters are suffering, Racing New South Wales suffers because that's where the dollar comes from, mate, in the great game.
Does it affect turnover?
Well, that's clearly PVL is probably thinking no. And does it ultimately?
Probably not.
Probably not, but I think it hinders the product, right?
Yeah, you want your best horses racing in the best races.
Absolutely.
And if they're going to have a more forensic look at the Group 1 or the status and the ratings of Group 1s, like, you don't want a race like the Epsom slipping away, because last year was a very poor edition.
Yeah.
I think the year before wasn't that great either. So it's like, I think it has to rate over I think the first 4 horses past the post need to rate by a certain rating for it to be maintained as a Group 1 race. I think the Epsom won't be in danger of that ever happening, but you don't want to flirt with that sort of thing where, you just want your best horses in the time-honoured best races.
Absolutely. So am I speaking out of my pocket? Of course I am, to a degree, Drifters, but a different story if, he just didn't make the field or they changed tune with him, they decided to make him a sprinter first or something like that. Or if he ended up in the Metropolitan, a different race on the same day, and I just didn't get my ducks in a row well enough. And that's on me for playing in futures markets, right? And futures markets always come with risk. That's on me. But the fact that he's any other year, he'd be racing in this race.
I think so.
31s, mate.
Oh, mate, you look at this Metropolitan field, $7 a field. What price would Elias be?
Oh,
he would be, what, $1.80? $1.80 in that field?
If he was black odds, it wouldn't be by much.
It'd be just fine odds from last year. Like, he'd be awfully short, and then he rocks around into Turnbull. Good luck. Like, I know which race would have been a lot easier to win.
100%.
So-
And look, there is, like all the great heroes in all the great stories, there is a redemption arc for me in the Epsom. There is a redemption arc. So we'll get into that at some point.
All right.
Where I will win. I will win. And there is some justice to be had. But I was filthy. She was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm just fucking."
Yeah.
I thought I was so much better, and I'm not.
Yeah. It's good when you land a really good one, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all right this time.
Few and far between for your boy.
Yeah, that's all right. All right. Tell you what, Group 1 racing this weekend, if you're in our tipping competition, it's almost like the first moving day. First of many.
It really is. And if you're one of those dills who forgot to put your tips in, you can quickly make up some ground this weekend.
Yeah.
So there'll be some emails going around over the next few days. This time, all the Group 1s will be on just the one email. So for those people who thought, oh, I've only got the one for the Manicato, or I've only got the one for the Golden Rose. Well, it's not going to happen this time. It's only going to be the one email.
One email.
There'll be a reminder going out as well on Saturday morning to get your tips in case you forget.
Don't forget.
And there'll also be, because we're going to be playing with more data post 4 more Group 1 races this weekend, there's going to be some data coming out on this podcast, on our socials, what have you.
Think pie charts.
Yeah.
Possibly a donut chart. Never understood the donut chart.
No, neither did I, actually. Venn diagram. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. It'll be cool. And we'll also have a leaderboard post this weekend because there's no point doing it after just 2 races.
Yeah, like there's the amount of people be like, oh, but I have the same amount.
I'm
hey,
on 5-2.
Chill, bro, chill.
Chill out.
Why are you so angry, man? All right. Shall we get into kicking off at Randwick? Let's kick off with the flight stakes. A nice little single down the fine leg here. Autumn Glow is your $1.50 favourite with the good people at Ned's. $1.65 now. She's the logical starting point, I would have thought. Barrier 3, J-Mac on 1,600 metres looks awfully well placed for this. But, I have a theory with these babies. She has to do it all in one prep. Is there any universe where you see her going down?
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, like I'm steering clear of the $1.65.
Yeah.
As in, I'm not betting in this race because I think she wins.
You're watching and you're clapping.
I'm watching. Yeah, I don't think it'll be, one of those races where you're counting your pennies with 100 meters to go.
Really?
Because she's won convincingly each time. It hasn't been by lengths. It's just been, there's more under the hood, right? So she could unleash a turn of foot in her grand final that absolutely blows them away. Or maybe she's just a little bit flat in her first preparation, like you said. I don't know. But either way, I don't want to find out $1.65.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take her on either. If I was going to, though, the ones for me would be the thing that bolted home for second last start, another filly by the Autumn Sun, number 2, Snow in May. I thought she was phenomenal coming home. She's on her first prep. She's in her second prep. And Johnny O'Shea's good with these 3-year-old fillies. The other one is Lady Shenandoah, who won last start. In a bunched finish, I'll probably question the quality coming out of the Air Ming Dynasty quality Group 3 as opposed to the traditional Princess Series. I'd question that.
But she's beaten the boys.
She's beaten the boys. And Zachy Lloyd on. He's in red hot form.
Yeah.
Chris Waller. Same stable obviously as Autumn Glow, but he can pop up a little, the $1.65 pop from my stable went down, but the $6 pop got up. He can do that.
Yeah, he can.
But no, I don't want to bet this race, mate. What are your thoughts?
Oh, mate, I think, what would Chris Waller be without a dual acceptor as well, to Cleachy Boulevard, who's also accepted in Melbourne. So good luck, punters. If she goes there, she's awfully well placed.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And I like that name too, Deck Leachy.
Yeah.
Bit of a leech.
I thought it was, I kind of left her out of my calculations because I kind of thought she was going to be heading there. Yeah, I thought this was a very straightforward race, to be honest, mate. I thought Autumn Glow wins. I thought you could probably throw a blanket over those ones that you were talking about and adding in Lazura as well into your top 4.
Any of these fillies you think could be maybe charging on towards an Oaks, or do you think it's too far away for them? Johnny Sargent's got one in there. He loves an Oaks filly.
Yeah, maybe.
Powers of Opal.
Yeah, I reckon I've actually... No, I haven't got that wrong. I was like, have I got that wrong? No, she's in the Edward Manifold down in Melbourne. So, yeah, like... DeClichy kind of looks like that, you know? But she's a She's a She's a daughter of Schnitzel.
She
I don't. But there's one or two Schnitzels every generation that can potentially stretch out.
Absolutely. What about the half sister of Winks, Wings of Desire? She's talking about dual acceptors. She's a triple acceptor. So she's in the Dulcify Stakes in Randwick and also the Edward Manifold, that race we were just talking about. So. Yeah, I think there'll be some more deductions for Autumn Glow. It won't really affect the price too much, but yeah, she's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I think the Oaks picture will start taking place this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But at this stage, it's a little bit all over the shop for me. Race 8 is the Metropolitan. Now, what is going on here? What is going on in this race? $7 the field. I can't remember the last time I saw that. Like $7.50 the field with Land Legend and Berkshire Breeze as your favourites. Unusual Legacy, kind of leaving him out. He's a third emergency is $7 favourite. There is so much happening here, so much, and I can only wish that Elias was heading here. I thought he would have been so up to his ears here.
Incredibly hard to beat. But what it does offer us is an opportunity to find some value.
So there are form lines galore here. I'm talking Wyong Cups. I'm talking Newcastle Gold Cups. I'm talking MRC Foundation Cups.
Benchmark 88s.
Yeah. I'm talking Kingston Town Stakes. This is a hot mess of a race.
It is.
Absolute hot mess.
It is.
So this is the best opportunity I reckon you'll have in our tipping competition to get double points.
Oh, absolutely.
Something. I guarantee something with double figures wins this.
Absolutely. God, I thought it was one of those races where you can literally make a case for more than half the field. So I just thought I'm just going to go with ones that I know are good horses and will quality rise to the top.
Sure.
But the first thing I was trying to figure out is what's the tempo like in this race? I think we'll get something pretty genuine with the Serpent.
That was exactly how I read it, because with him from at barrier 18 and he's coming in, which I cannot believe, because he's a 2,000 metre horse in my opinion, and he's going to burn all his tickets early, and at the last furlong he'll just be going through the pack and almost finishing second last. That's how I see us. That's the fate that I have for Serpentine in my mind's eye at 55 kilos. So I think he goes forward with a bunch of others here, but I think there'll be a pretty genuine tempo.
I think so. Berkshire Breeze last time was ridden conservatively, and I don't think it suited him. He likes to go forward if he takes his place in this race, because he's also accepted in the fucking Bart Cummings down in Melbourne. Like, it's shit. What we talk about today is just, it could be so irrelevant come Saturday, which is frustrating. But he's drawn out, so I think there'll be a genuine speed here, and because of that, I think it's going to be a truly run 2,400 metres, and I think that's going to help a horse who, let's be honest, I think is going to need it to show her best, because thus far this prep she's been a little bit disappointing after a first up run that was pretty eye-catching. But I think she's the best horse in the race, and I think she's stretching out to a distance that'll suit Zardozi, number 10. Would you have liked to seen more from her this prep thus far? Absolutely. But if you look at her first up run in the Wink Stakes, I thought she was great. In the Chelmsford, it was a bit of a sit and sprint, didn't suit her. And in the Kingston Town, I may have been sucked in to putting a bet on her. And she ran 5th, so she was a bit keen in the running. I don't know, it was just a little bit gross. But drops a bit of weight here. Gate 10, if there's a genuine speed, that might just bring out the best in her, Zardozi. And at $10 with the good people at Ned's, like, I'm happy to play at that because I've got to bet on something in this race, and I could make a case for half the field.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Good tracks are big concern.
It's a concern, yeah. It's a concern, but I think I just stretching out to this trip. I think she's come back a little bit dour. She's got a bit of weight relief. And maybe just the genuine tempo will bring out the best in her. I'm spitballing.
It's funny because, like, after that sensational first up run, they were going like, "Ooh, do we keep her fresh for a golden eagle?" That was the chat from the stable after that first up run, and now they're clearly thinking, what, Melbourne Cup for her later? I have no idea where they're heading with her.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where she's at, but I looked at this race, and the more I looked at it, the more I just thought, what's the ceiling for these horses? You know what I mean? Like this girl is running around with bloody Autumn Angel and Orchestral. Like if those two had 52 kilos in this race, I'd be all over them.
Yeah, a mare with 52 kilos though.
Yeah, I know.
It's essentially 54.
Yeah, I know. But
level weights with my guy Allegron.
Yes, it is level weights with your guy Allegron. But if Berkshire Breeze in this race, I don't think he will be. But if he's not in this race, he's one I was keen on. The other one I was keen on was at odds was number 16, Man Zoyce.
I think he might have been set for this from the beginning of the year.
From the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
Hey, it's October.
Mate, he's had one poor run this year, and that was unfortunately for him. I'm looking back here. It was the
Sydney Cup.
Yeah, Sydney Cup. He was dross. He was terrible. I think he might have been my on-top selection that day. But his returns this prep
been good,
outstanding. The Premier's Cup prelude, where he got a big old whack in the ribs at about 300 from home, and he still ran on sensationally. Then the Wyong Cup rather, never saw daylight. It was an extended barrier trial for Manzoice. So, and his tick over trial, J-Mac did not move on him, and he was. I think he's going super, but he's also dual accepted for the Homecomings as well. So
that's why, like,
so Jay Ford booked for him at 50 kilos. He's probably one of Chris Waller's like top picks for jockeys that can ride that light. I don't know if Kieran can get that light anymore. I doubt it as he ages. But anyway, so yeah, I've got Manzoice in my numbers as well. Mate, I thought, you know my logic for this race? Staying test. What's Kieran Maher got on the field? That's where my mind went to. And he's got 3. Berkshire Breeze, who's not one of mine. You can have it. And am I going to back the favourite in this race? Come race day, I might be.
Yeah.
Wycliffe, yeah, and again, a 41 starts, 8-year-old gelding, never raced at Group 1 level. That is the epitome, in a nutshell, of like where our middle distance ranks are at.
Yeah.
Future History is the one. And I had a look through his Melbourne form, looking at the racing.com data, and his best runs have been when there's been a genuine pace on. And I think he's going to get that here. Barrier 3, he's going to get the perfect run in the race.
Good run with that sort of weight as well, like 51.5 kilos.
And he only just missed in the MRC Foundation Cup, beating home Gear Up, who I have a lot of respect for, and the horse that you like, the Grey.
St. George.
Yeah, so I think he's the one that I didn't initially find, but when I was doing it a bit more, I was like, oh, hello, I think this horse can run a race here. And I think he's a silly price, and I think sets up really well for him. So Future History's on top for me. I had Manzoice in for second at $15 if he's heading there. Land Legend is one we did not talk about. He's another one that's been found. He is the definition of one-paced.
Oh, yeah, God, yeah.
So I think he's looking for this and then some. Because his win in the St. Leger, yes, it was good. But who did he beat that day? He beat the likes of Cleveland and Calipour. Calipour's shown something since, like winning what did he win? The Ramvet or something. Tancred.
Yeah, not good.
That doesn't read well, does it?
It's not good.
And he nearly put himself through the fence that day. So I think he's definitely looking for this trip, if not further. So yeah, I could see him running well, very well, and I could not leave my guy Allegron out. Second up is Cherry Ripe here. He is one of the most mistrained horses that Godolphin's ever had.
Oh, it has to be.
He should have been running in Melbourne Cups years ago.
He should have been.
Honestly, like not only Melbourne Cups, but Sydney Cups, Brisbane Cups. He should be targeted almost like 3 races a year.
Absolutely. God, I'm not even going to give numbers for this race because but half the things I'm keen on are dual accepted.
Yeah, but that's okay because you have to because the odds that these things are at.
True. Look, because if Zardozi on top for me.
Because if you throw something out there at 60 to 1 and actually lobs, you think I'm not cutting that up?
That is true, actually. Okay, let's reset. This is for we're going to cut this up and it's going to be a reel. So on top for me, Zardozi. I just had a quick look at Montefilia's lead up to her Metropolitan win, where she carried 55.5 kilos in this race. Is Zardozi Montefilia quality? Probably not
yet.
But the lead up is very similar. Very similar. Running in the Chelmsford and then the Kingston town. And I dare say that the things Montefilia was racing against were a lot better than these. So Zardozi on top for me. Berkshire Breeze will run well if he's here. Man's always at a big price. And yeah, Allegron, he's going to run well.
Yeah, of course he will. He doesn't know how to run poorly. Bjorn's got that horse flying. Now, the Team Green Epsom Handicap. Group 1 Handicap, obviously. Do you want to go like a runner-by-runner situation here?
If you want.
Okay, let's not. I'm enthused to bet into the race because I think it's a good opportunity and there's, what is the price of the field? Is it $6 the field? Excellent betting race. $6 the field. Royal Patronage rather is your favourite with Kovalika and Cheerwolf $7 next line. So I think it's a great betting race still, but I'm just a bit disappointed by the quality of it.
Yeah, so I'd be in the same camp as you with that. But I did get some redemption.
Okay.
In this race.
So in terms of a speed, I thought Royal Patronage goes forward. Major Beale knows no other way. And what the fuck is Berkshire Shadow doing in this race? And it's been backed.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. I've seen absolutely nothing from that horse.
No, and it's like, is Here to Shock form really going to be threatening for a race like this? Surely not. At 53 kilos, I think there's better selects here.
I think so. So when the field first went up, there was a horse that I was getting $26 for, and I was like, and there was other things in the race that had more weight than it's been running just as well as them at like half the quote. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And that's number 12, Major Beale. When the market first went up, when horses had their barriers, bro was $26 with the good people. Now he's into $12 now. I move markets. And would I ever, if you asked me a week ago, would I ever said to myself, and you told me, you're going to be back in Major Beale in the Epsom Handicap, I would have been like, huh? But this guy has come back as a miler. He resumed first up in a benchmark 94, mind you, but carrying 60 kilos over a mile where he won. Then he ran in that 7+ Sports Stakes race. He ran 5th of 8, and you're thinking, it doesn't read too well. It's like, well, he was only beaten a length and a half by Fangirl, and he's basically finishing over the line with Royal Patronage and with Detonator Jack, and Royal Patronage is favourite in this race. And both of those horses have drawn the absolute car park, whereas Major Beale's drawn 9, which I think is pretty good. And with his racing pattern, if you watch a replay of the 7+ Sports Stakes, he led, and yeah, he got ran down with, sort of 60, 70 odd metres to go, but he actually found again in the line. So he's a tough horse to get past, and that was much better class than this race. And he was also carrying What was he carrying in that race? 59 kilos.
Well, it's way for age, so he'd be 4.5 kilos better off of Royal Patronage and Detonator Jack.
Exactly. So I know he's going to be in the running, and he's come back super this prep. And if you actually look at his record, if you take out all the races he's had at further than a mile since his Derby win, it doesn't read well, but every time he stepped out over sort of a mile, he's ran super. So maybe that's what this horse is, and they've just sort of figured it out for this prep. I like him in this race, and at that price, I don't need to bet him anymore because I got the 26s. So he's my top selection, Mighty Beale.
Major Bill.
Major Beale. He's mighty, though.
That is a sensational case you've made.
Yeah.
Well done. I think you found the hole in the market.
Well, I did because they're not giving me 26s anymore.
Yeah. No, it's very well done by you. Tell you what, I've got one that's got form around that horse that I'm putting in my top 4 as well, but I'll get to him. I was looking through this field. I'm like, where am I going to land? I've landed on my old mate, Chrysale. That was a sensational performance first up on a track that Chris Waller was shocked that he won that day. He's like, he looks at wet ground and he hates it. But I think that's just a testament of how well Flemington drains. So this horse, I think, was racing really, really well last prep without doing too much. I think he was finishing off really nicely, and the barrier kind of beat him in that Gunsing Classic, I feel, where Bases Loaded won that day at Eagle Farm. And Eagle Farm has a tendency of, like, you know, if it is an absolute rock hard deck, it is a little bit hard to run on as well. So I think he's been going better than ever, Chrysale. Craig Williams, and probably an elite lightweight jockey, 51.5 kilos, barrier 5. Like, all the stars are aligning for star thoroughbreds here. I can just see him getting run of the race sort of stuff, popping out. And he has a sharp, probably like 120 metre turn of foot. But that's all he needs to, you know, run down your old mate, Major Beale. So I think he's one that I'm keen on. Couldn't go past my mate, old Tommy Kitten as well, but barrier 19 stinks for him.
Might be a bit of a cat, Tommy Kitten.
I think where's he going to go? Like, they've proven when he draws out. I think they have to take a risk and ride him more aggressively, I feel. I think they need to try and find a position because I don't see a lot of speed in this race. So I think they try and find a position with a bit of 3 wide with a bit of cover about midfield, and he's definitely a winning chance. So I've got him in for second. The horse there's 2 big roughies that I've got into 3rd and 4th here. The third one does have form around Major Beale, and that's Galeron. I thought this horse has been running super. 50 kilos. It had 61.5 last start, behind the likes of Floating and Bear on the Loose. But I think it's a really great placement by Neesham and Archibald, because they've gone like, this is the Epsom handicap this year. It is so winnable. At $81, I'm having something that is going up on my Ned's profile, because I think that's a stupid price. Especially because I think he's going to be another one that's going to be forward to midfield, doing zero work, with another good lightweight jockey on, with Andrew Collett, to just be right behind the speed there as well. I think he's another one that can feature. And then what's Firestorm done wrong?
Firestorm's done nothing wrong on the quick backup.
$46. Beating Unusual Legacy home, who's the current favourite as third emergency in the Metro last week. She's been super this prep. I think she's a mare in form, and I don't know, $46. You could be doing way worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Major Beale on top for me, and then I think, looking at this race, I was like, well, what are the horses that actually have run around in higher quality races? And even if they're weighted not super well in this race, it's such a thin race, it doesn't really matter that much. So for me, to round out the top 4, Kovalika, Chia Wolf, and Royal Patronage. My concern, though, if you're backing Sheer Wolf, if you're diving in, he where's he going to get to from that gate? I think he needs some pace on to be at his best, Sheer Wolf. And I don't think there's going to be a stack of pace in this race.
He nearly won a derby, Sheer Wolf.
He did.
I think they've pulled... It's not unlike Jack. He's pulled the wrong rein.
That is unlike him.
Like, could you imagine? I would be backing that horse in a Metropolitan.
So would I.
Like,
So would I.
because he should have won that derby, that Australian derby. Valet, Reef Rocket.
My question is whether he's going to end up in a Golden Eagle after this.
Probably. And again, it's, I'm all for innovation, but I don't know if that race is the best thing for horse racing. Like the traditional paths.
Well, you'd be having the Cheer Wolves in the Metropolitan, and then if he ran that, guess where he'd be running next? The Caulfield Cup, mate.
Exactly.
He won't be running the Caulfield Cup to that much for free.
All right. Let's finish off this Randwick meeting, which is there's everything. We have the babies kicking off. The 2-year-old Colton Geldings in the Breeders' Plate. Now, I think I wrote down who actually won these last year. Espionage won this last year. He was one of the standout trialers from that trial day, which Racing New South Wales do really well. So, bit of a day in itself. Tell you what, I think obviously the first look that we've had at him, but there was a bunch of colt trials, and there was obviously the filly trials. The colts look to have length on the fillies at this stage. So that's my little very early prediction. Probably too early. But there was a few that I highlighted. Number 4, King Kirk. Very impressive. He crossed heels with about a furlong to go, and he climbed over the top of Malay, which was fantastic. And he'd had a ton of owners in that horse be out of my racehorse. North England was probably one of the most impressive trials of the day. Think your Scampy from last year. Scampy was like, after that, I think it was $6 in Golden Slipper markets.
It's absurd, isn't it?
North England is probably the same price for the slipper at this stage, I'd imagine. Without looking. Raging Force sat off the speed and had a really nice turn of foot as well. And Tuscany, for me, was probably the most impressive of those.
I agree. Couldn't possibly bet in this race, but if I was forced to, I like the Tuscany trial, and J-Mac doesn't ride for that stable very often. So I think the ownership, so Newgate and China Horse Club, those Silks is probably pushed to have J-Mac on that horse. I think they'd probably think very highly of him too. So if you were to bet, it's pretty short, but he's the pick for me.
Yeah. There was one that I was very keen on in the Gym Crack, and she's $3.70. I think that's surely favoured in this, but she was easily the best trial of the day, and that's, how would you pronounce her name? Icarian Dream?
Yeah.
We'll go with that. For Kieran Ma. She was so impressive. Basically hard held, and she looked the most professional of the fillies that came out. So I think she'll be ready to go. Manar won this last year.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. Wow, that's for a filly who's still like doing something in the Princess series as a 3-year-old. That's impressive that she got up that early.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to stick with J-Mac again in this one in Strata Verena at $8 again. He doesn't really ride that often for Björn. She was hard held in the trial and did just enough. But the thing that drew me to her, that sire, Street Boss. I think he's just going up and up and up. Traffic Warden obviously being his main colt at the moment. So again, probably won't be betting, but she's the one for me.
Yeah, I don't usually like the blue points, but I guess we'll...
Oh, yeah, true, for a Carrion Dream.
I guess we'll find out if she has a breathing issue after the race. Now, the race 4 is the Dulcify Stakes, listed set weights over the mile for the 3-year-olds. Now, if I was backing this horse in a Caulfield Guineas prelude, there's no way I'm not backing it here, depth of character. Just too far back first up. I thought he finished off fine. Hopefully, pardon me, equal weights here. And, there's no angel capitals in this field.
No, there isn't.
And it's $12.
Yeah, phenomenal price. I'm going to keep my powder dry just to see where Wings of Desire ends up. If she's in this race, I'm happy to back her from what I've seen.
The sister.
Half sister of greatness.
Now, the Premier Stakes. Did you see Lady of Camelot got an Everest slot?
I did see that.
I thought that was troubling.
I thought that was troubling as well.
Is that too dramatic?
Well, I think... Do you know what I think? I think James Harron was sort of sitting there thinking, shit, I really need my guy, Bodyguard, to run super in the Danehill this weekend. And if he does, I'm happy to take him in the Everest. If he doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I reckon So Owen of Go Bloodstock, those Silks fame, probably got on the blower or vice versa and said, hey, notice you haven't got anything yet. I don't know what you're thinking, but I really want to get my filly into this race. Can I lease the slot off you so I can run it? This is what I'm offering cash-wise. And James probably thought, you know what? That's a phenomenal idea. Here you go, bruh. Honestly. Because I think if I was Sir Owen, I'm looking at this field and thinking to myself, well, the only pace up front, as it stands right now, is Stormboy. And he can miss the jump. And he's also probably thinking, my filly beat her in a beat him fair and square in a golden slipper. I'm going to take her to the Everest.
So here's the field so far, right? Trackside Media, I Wish I'll Win, Newgate, Steffi Magnetica, Chris Waller, Jolly Star. Australian Turf Glide doesn't have one yet. Coolmore picks Stormboy too. I think that's the right range.
I think so.
Fairway Thoroughbreds, is that old mate?
That's John Camilleri,
Yeah. So Go Bloodstock and James Harron, Lady of Camelot. Max Whitby, Neil Werrett and Cole Madden, TBC.
Yeah, because they had Bustling, and Bustling's been given the boot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Did you know that?
No.
So he did some trial work during this week, and Mick Price said, no, this horse is no good.
Well done by you. Fascinating. Okay. So that... All right. Team Green, Bella Nipotina. Star Arrowfield, I Am Me, waste of a spot. Yulong and Godolphin. So, yeah, okay. So Southport Tycoon.
Maybe Growing Empire.
Maybe.
I think Traffic Warden's $1.05 to get that slot.
Okay. All right. And then
Godolphin.
Yeah. So out of this field then, Giga Kick, think about it. You could put Marzu's name there. And potentially even Chain of Lightning if she... if she returns to form. She won the TJ this year.
Yeah.
For Yulong. So, fascinating. Why haven't they announced, Sunshine in Paris? Is there another issue there, or... I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. You'd think it would have been announced by now. I'm not sure.
Anyway.
Just be pure speculation.
Okay, so... I'm assuming that you've got one of these in the Everest field, if not two of them.
Yeah, I think... Well, as it stands right now, out of this race, if you had to ask me which horse are you picking for your Everest slot, Belle's already got one. Otherwise, she'd be my pick. I'd be picking Giga Kick. But whoever wins this race, outside of Bella Nipotina, gets an Everest slot. I don't know if more than one of these horses gets an Everest slot.
5 slots left. 2 of them are,
Pretty much sewed up.
Yeah, with Yulong half sewn up. So AT's, the Australian Turf Club, and I guess that Max Whitby and Neil Werrett slot. So they're taking either one of Giga Kick, Overpass, Think About It, Private Eye. I don't know. Is there any other 3-year-olds running around? Hey, Sugi? Probably not.
Probably not. The fact that she's not running this weekend makes me think she's going to go for a spell. Or be freshened up for the Coolmore.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. Interesting.
Yeah. And do you know what I think is going to throw a spanner in the works?
Bella Nips wins this?
Bella Nips wins this. So Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless Giga Kick, first up after 12 months,
He ran fine.
he ran fine. And I think with all that condition, if he strips fitter, if he storms home for second or even third in this, would not be surprised if he gets a slot because you know he can. There's upside to that. But as it stands right now, I think Bella's number one seed for the Everest.
Yeah, I think so.
Because she's not going to put in a poor performance. Think about it from gate 8. Oh, where does he get to? Like, there's Coal Crusher leading. Marzu jumps well. Bella will jump well. Like if he's caught 3 wide, Jason Collette on.
I think he has started drawing really poorly, hasn't he?
He has, and during his run, he drew super every single time.
Yeah, he did.
He's a horse who needs to land up on pace because he's not a sharp turner foot horse. He's not going to get himself out of trouble like that.
He's a grinding bulldog. Think about it. I think he'll run well here. You're not a conspiracy theorist. Are Godolphin thinking that my old mate, I saw had the ultimate gear change in the last, who had a trial against Think About It recently, Corniche. Now that would be a significant upgrade from like what the current level that he's at. But are they going like, you know what, we don't want to bang up Traffic Warden, let's keep him fresh for a Coolmore? And Corniche is honestly probably the next in line.
Probably is, yeah.
For them. And since that trial was where he was dynamic, Think About It goes out there, wins. Corniche goes out, beats the likes of Ostraka, who's flying for Annabelle Neesham at the moment.
Oh, look, I think
it's a bit tinfoil hatty.
It's not completely out of question, but I'd be very surprised, particularly if, as they're talking about, the Everest gets that Group 1 tag prior to its running, because
true.
Winning the Everest, the first Group 1 edition of the Everest as a 3-year-old colt. Name your price, bruh.
It's the year to do it.
So for what it's worth in this particular race, fascinating contest. I think Bella Nipotina wins.
Yeah.
But I really do want to see Giga Kick run well. I really do.
Yeah.
He's just going to have to... I think he's got it in him, but he'd have to improve significantly from that first up run. Significantly.
Yeah.
Think About It. Need to see it from him. Because, the last I heard, this horse could win a Cox Plate.
Yeah.
And he was trained as such and failed miserably. Could that have wrecked him for 12 months? Potentially. Can have him.
All right, let's go to Flemington. Now, a little bit of rain around, but I think it will be fine. Rail is out 9 metres, which you don't really see too much on a Saturday Flemington meeting, but you see it every now and then. I guess they got to keep it pristine for Cup Week as well. Now, race 8 is the Turnbull Stakes, 2,000 metres, Group 1, set weights and penalties. Now, it was a sensational win last year, but the industry kind of overreacted a little bit when Gold Trip won that race. They're like, oh my God, this is the best horse in Australia by a country mile. Bit of cut out in the ground that day, and it didn't prove to be for Gold Trip, but he was a very good horse nonetheless. Via Sistina, with the good people at Ned's, is second elect now that I refresh my screen. $4.60 behind the likes of Buckaroo. Are you giving her another chance?
I think if you are keen on her, Drifters, keep your powder dry because you might get a better price.
You reckon? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I reckon she'll start favourite.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I think people will sort of be spooked by that last start.
Yeah, but there's so many things that can be explained. So I think the big boys are going to go like, you know what?
Let's whack this thing.
Let's go again, because now it's the perfect setup. It's going to be dry weather. She got too far back.
There's no Pride of Jenny.
Like, I think there's stays in this field. I think it's a much better setup for her.
Yeah. Look, is she my top selection? No, but
Really?
no, she's not. And the only reason why is because it's not weight for age. And I hate the set weights and penalties races for the mares. Particularly the ones that, yes, she's won 2 Group 1s here. And that first one in the Randwick that she won was phenomenal and dynamic, fresh off the plane. I just going this way anti-clockwise, Flemington, I want to see it from her. She could come out here and absolutely blow them away, but not with mine on.
Okay.
I can understand the push for Buckaroo because he was phenomenal last start in the Underwood.
Absolutely he was.
And he's only got a kilo more than Via Sistina. He's been fantastic this prep. Gets the Magic Man again. Damien Lane, he's riding pretty dross at the moment as well on Via Sistina. Remember when he was handed the reins of Very Elegant in the Turnbull and Incentivize won that race, and she ran third, and she just didn't look comfortable the entire race. I think maybe Via Sistina is cutting that mold. Just needs a bit of a come on, getting the line tight. Whereas Damien Lane's not that tight.
Matt, isn't he? I don't know. He rides the Japanese horses when they get here. Like, he's going to be on prognosis. That horse is
Nutcase.
One of the biggest nutcases. I think he might have a bit of the linebackers about him.
He might do. Look, I was on him resuming, and maybe the Maccabi Diva being run at a bit of a frantic pace by Pride of Jenny up front suited him as a resuming stale warmonger. But like at $12 with the good people at Ned's, Mickey D treated pretty well at the weights. Like 2,000 metres Flemington, like he could just explode again. Warmonger. Afraid of where he gets to in this race. There's not an obvious sort of leader or pace on. I'm prepared to forgive place to Carousel as well. She ran a race before she even jumped last start in the Underwood. She draws well here. She's only got 55 kilos, Benny Melamon. Prepared to forgive her for one poor run, and she's a good price as well. So they're the two I'm looking at, but Via Sistina and Buckaroo are definitely in my numbers, so that's my top 4, and just trying to suss it out, you know.
I think this is one of the great overreactions on Elias. How, when he would have been prepped, all prep, towards Metropolitan, which is 2 furlongs further, and this is a way harder field, and he's come up third on the third line of betting at $5, Barry 16. Like, with all due respect, Ethan Brown on, like, surely not. Maybe they just think he's that good.
Maybe they do. Yeah, maybe they do. $5 is short, but I think I would not be surprised to see him run well.
I'm wary of the picket fence.
The Turnbull can just throw up something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's because it's. I think people forget it's a set weights and penalties race, and it just only can be a small thing when you're reading through the form. But like Via Sistina's a mare, she's got 57, right? So Elias is treated 2.5 kilos better than her at weight for age. Like,
yeah, I guess so. But
I just these sort of races for me are just a little bit gross. Like, she's not Winks, and Winks could carry bloody 63 kilos in this race and put into the sword. She's not that from what I've seen of Via Sistina. She's very, very good, not taking anything away from her. Just need to see her bounce back.
Yeah, I've got her on top. I'm a believer, and I think it's just a far better setup. I think, getting back on top of the ground, a bit of second up syndrome there as well, and I don't necessarily see the frantic pace being here that it was in the Maccabi.
Was not frantic at all.
So I think she's far better set up here, and honestly, I think Buckaroo's an easy second select. I think he's absolutely flying. I would not be surprised if he came out and not brained him, but he won again. I think there is a forgotten horse here. Is a Tissue. You could basically copy and paste what I said for Via Sistina for her as well. She was really good resuming. Basically, who was on? Frosty was on her that day, and said, oh, God, she just absolutely hated those conditions being back in the field. Her Flemington record is elite, especially over this distance. So I think she's one that I'm definitely keeping safe in my numbers. And then Warmonger's the other one. I think he was clearly the eye catcher in the Mackay Diva. Just a tough horse, Warmonger.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Big fan of him.
Interesting that both of us left Elias out of our numbers, though.
Just didn't have the room.
All right. Now, the Maribyrnong Trial, race 2, is 1,000 metre listed for the 2-year-olds. Mate, Bodyguard won this last year. So I think it's these 2-year-old races last year, it was definitely a good crop. Now, Gambler was scratched from Sydney to come down here. He was third behind Tuscany, who I thought was the best trialer. So I thought I could have a little spec at him at 12s. But, yeah, typically with these ones as well, you kind of watch the market, see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember Hummer?
Yeah.
Price tag's out of Hummer.
Yeah, right.
So we'll keep a close eye on her. A little filly in those silks. But, yeah, just a watch race for your boy.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Now, the Superimposed Stakes, 1,800, listed for the 3-year-old set weights and penalties here as well. Did you have any firm opinion in this race? I thought this was very difficult.
Yeah, super difficult. There's a horse that is coming over from New Zealand in those silks, Truth or Dare, that race in Cranbourne a couple of weeks ago and did it super easy. So it could be that just New Zealand form, coming over. They've brought a smarty that's going to run well, but it's $8, Truth or Dare, number 7. But yeah, no, don't have a firm opinion on this race.
Yeah, it's either you go with the Derby trial form or you go with alternative maiden form.
Yeah.
Thought number 5, Scary, out of Shocking, was a colt who won very nicely at Sale last start as well. He's $5, second favourite, so you could make a case there, but again, not really a race that we're interested in. Now, the Edwin Manifold, 1,600 metres, Group 2 for the fillies, set weights. Wings of Desire's here too.
And Deck Licky.
Yeah. Declici Boulevard, 260.
Yeah, Wings of Desire, like wherever she ends up, aside from the flight stakes, I'll be having something on her. So if she comes out, I'll probably reassess. I thought Jenny's Meadow at odds was probably worth a spec. You probably put a line through her last start where she ran against Lilac and Declici. Declici. But she was good in that listed race in Flemington sort of during the winter. The Taj Rossi Series final listed race. So, but yeah, again.
Yeah, Declici Boulevard looks well placed here. She needs the mile, this horse.
Yeah.
And Comanche Miss was good behind Dawn Service, but that form's kind of fell over at Moonee Valley Line.
He failed
he
miserably.
Did. So now race 5 is the Danehill. Here we go. Here's a race. 1,100 metres, Group 2, set weights and penalties. Bodyguard, 550. First Settler, 380. And Reserve Bank at $4. Nice race.
It is a good race. Fascinating to see what the market does. If they come for a horse like Bitter Creek or Bodyguard, I'd say bet with confidence, particularly because they're resuming after a while off. First Settler obviously has the Growing Empire form, so I couldn't talk you out of that at $3.80. But I went back and watched the win of number 7 Reserve Bank at Ballarat. This guy is a Saturday class colt, and the stable's got a really high opinion of him, Reserve Bank. So he's probably the one that I'm keen on because he just looks like a horse who, if he came here and brained him, he could be probably a Coolmore type. You know what I mean? But I think that you could say that with any of these horses if they do super well. Are they going to be better than Traffic Warden, Growing Empire? Probably not. But
yeah, Connections, we're talking about an Everest slot for Bodyguard. So Reserve Bank comes out, he could get an Everest slot.
Yeah, lol.
You never know. Yeah, Bodyguard have to 550. One at the track. clearly needs good ground, this horse, and he's a bit inconsistent. It's a bit tough. He's just been win loss basically. So I think it's due for a win, and they've held him back. Loved his trial. He looks cherry ripe. I think he might be your pick of the yard. I have faith in Peter Snowden and Josh Buttonshaw there. Now the Poseidon Stakes, the Paris Lane Stakes rather, 1400 metre listed for open handicap for the 4-year-olds and older. This might be one of the bets of the weekend, Royal Champion.
Yeah, he's got to lug some weight doing it, but he's so much better than these, isn't he?
Mate, I'll ask you this. Would Uncle Bryn, Jigsaw, It's Our Time, Aaron Bay, Not an Option, Von Hawk, Macram, Comrade Rosa, Coin Toss, Flash Flood, Promises Kept, and Plenty of Ammo. Now, some of them are probably ex-European horses and probably have some of the similar form, but not to his standard. They would dream of some of the form that this horse has. 2 Group 1 placings overseas, running third in a Group 2, third in a Group 3, 2 listed wins. He's got elite form, this horse. He is, remember Zaki, big, what is that, a bay? Is that what his colour was? Or a big brown horse with the white markings on his face?
Mm.
Royal Champion is a black version of that.
Sheesh.
Black horse, goes forward, has the white markings on his face. I've been waiting so patiently for this horse to resume, and now it's chips in. I'm so keen to see him. I think he's going to run super. I think he's going to be sensational. And he had a hot boy Queensland's winter as well.
Should have asked young Sam when we were at the track.
True.
Mate, should I go chips in with Royal Champion?
Yeah. So
he's the bet, isn't he?
Yep.
You're betting on the fact that you're thinking he's just so much better, and he could be a single digit price in a Champions Mile perhaps later on in the spring.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then you're taking the $4.60 with Ned's here.
Yeah. Big on him. Like, with all due respect, he's far better than those. And the weight suggests that, but I think he's still good enough. Now, the Bar Cummings, 2,500 metres and 2,520 metres. Group 3 handicap. Now, how many of these are dual accepted? Heaps. So, Manzois, obviously, Berkshire Breeze, I think El Bodegon as well, but
El Bodegon is, yeah. Methuselah's the 4th or 5th emergency in the Metrop, so
yeah, there's plenty. Where'd you land here?
Well, I landed on my guy St. George, mostly because I've got a futures tickets for him at 50s in the CC. So like, I'm willing him to win. He's $7 here, and if he wins, he'll go into the Caulfield Cup, not as a $50 shot,
Mm.
So that's my logic. Plus, phenomenal name, phenomenal looking horse. K19 is not ideal.
No, it's
Where does he get to?
Oh, I don't know. No idea. Point King's drawn well again, ish, but he'll probably command this field, just lead it again, and his 2 runs this prep.
Well
been
found
really
by us last start.
Yeah.
Very well found.
Yeah. I saw some very well educated people going like, nah, Post Impressionist is the better one. No, he's not. No, Point King is. Post Impressionist wants to go back home. He's a bit homesick.
Mm-hmm.
He won't be racing in those silks for much longer, I guarantee you that. You know who is an old marvel, and I could see him getting out to the distance range that really suits him probably a little bit more, is the old boy, Val Declare. He has an affinity with Flemington, I feel.
He sure does.
He just runs honest, doesn't he?
He does, Val Declare. Yeah, you'd love to own him. He's always got a win in him every prep.
Mm.
Could it be it?
Yeah. Positivity is the other one as well. She won the MRC Foundation Cup and over 2,000 metres, and she's won from right at the distance as well. She hasn't had a bad run this prep. $12 you could do worse.
Absolutely.
So, but I think St. George for me as well. I think he's the one that I'm most keen on.
Considering how long he had off, that second up run, like he was a little bit flat-footed and peaked on his run, but yeah, second up.
He need 500 metres. He's stepping up here. That's perfect for the old fella. Young fella? Old fella.
He's 5-year-old. Northern European horse, so he's by Australian terms, he's 4.5. So he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
Placid horse, still has his nuts.
Yeah. Love that. The Gilgai Stakes, 1,200 metres, Group 2, set weights and penalties. Now, the connections of Arkansas Kid are still hopeful for an Everest slot, so he needs to win this race to be competitive. Happy to give, I don't know, he'll run super at $7.50. Here's the top weight here, 59 kilos, versus, like, say, the right to party at 56.5 bottom weight, $7. Nice. It's another good betting race.
It is. Is Magic Time just so much better than these?
Not first up. No.
You happy to take her on first up?
Yeah, first up, she is never a betting proposition for me.
Well, the horse I was looking at was number 14, Right to Party. I didn't mind her last start off a sort of 6-week let up, and she ran fourth to Arkansas Kid and Skybird. And I was on Skybird in that race, but didn't mind Right to Party. I don't think the heavy deck suited her at all. Gets into this race pretty lightly weighted compared to the rest. And nice gait, weak gutted dogs on, which is a bit of a concern. But she loves the Flemington straight, so Right to Party for me.
Interesting resumption here by I Am Unstoppable. He's actually your favourite, $6.50. And I'm frankly not really sure why.
Yeah, nor am I.
So he's failed twice when he stepped up against Open Company, and yeah, he hasn't really done much.
That's got to be the stable, because he's changed tables too, Kieran Maher. So maybe he's been giving it a bit of a push behind closed doors. I don't know, but yeah, I'd have to see it.
Sure. There's some horses that trial super, but when it comes up to, like, Malkovich, one of the great trialers of all time, but couldn't win on the racetrack.
One of the all-time great trialers.
I thought Ripcord was a big price here.
Ripcord is a big price. Yeah, like, the Western Australian horse.
$11, wasn't his day in the quokka. But before that, had form around Amelia's Jewel, Oscar's Fortune, Moona Mech, and the likes, and Overpass in the Winterbottom as well. Like, I thought he was a big price. Like, I feel like this is winnable, and 1,200 metres up his alley. He's a get-back horse, but to me, it kind of just, like, it feels like a bit of a target first up. It's a bit of an ambush almost. And loved his trial over at Belmont. Like, very slick. So Frosty on Barry 4. I could, I think there's worse bets of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, the Rose of Kingston, race 10. We're finally at the end of it, mate. Well done.
Sheesh.
1,400 metre Group 2 for the mares. Set weights, penalties. Revolutionary Miss is a bet here. $6.50. She runs super in mares grade. Zara on barrier 4. She will sit behind the speed and just Zara will nudge one out of the way and she will be too strong.
I thought she was great first up. And first run for Kieran Maher, I believe. Last start.
It must have been a Paul Snowden.
Yes,
horse.
A Snowden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I found Revolutionary Miss as well. Skybird nearly did me a huge favour last start. From that gate, though, you know where she's going to be, and I just don't know if she's going to get home in time because she's a horse who has a lot of talent, but I think she needs everything to go away to actually jag a win. And $4.20, not happy with that price. Miss Aria is the other one who did me an enormous favour last start, but
that was a very impressive win.
It was an impressive win, but I think going back and watching the race, they went pretty quick, so I think she was afforded every chance to storm home. She had a bit of residual fitness as well from her Queensland campaign. And again, where does she get to from that gate? And I just don't trust Sweet Got a Dog, Jai McNeil, to get her in a positive enough position. I don't, mate. I don't. So, like, a lot of time for both of those fillies, but you've got to sometimes go with your head, not your heart. Drifters, and I think Revolutionary Miss at $6.50 is a good play.
I think so. Quintessa's the other one. Just as honest as the day is long. Wasn't her day. Being back in the field in that Let's Alobe where Ring Zinger Bell just absolutely broke their hearts out in front.
Yeah.
And Alsafina's Frank the Form as well. So, yeah, if I was taking a quaddie, the two I would be taking are Revolutionary Miss and Quintessa. Well done, mate. It's been a journey.
It's been a lot, and I think just throwing the black type 2-year-old races in there, it just doesn't do us any favours at all. Like, what are we supposed to say about that?
Well, we're supposed to watch the trials. We're supposed to.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
Yeah, so did I.
But like,
did you hear my analysis for that first one?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It's just like, well,
yeah,
I'm not a massive trial guy myself.
No. Like, and if you are, and I remember Scampy this day last year, he was pumped in to about $1.90. And I was like, what are these people doing? Finished a long last.
Doesn't make any sense.
So it's like, yeah, where's that horse now? So anyway, yes, as we said, tipping comp email sent out Friday?
No, the email will be sent out tomorrow.
Wow, Thursday.
Yeah, give them plenty of notice. And so I sent it out on a Thursday morning. Then you'll get a reminder on a Saturday morning to get your tips in. I'd say tips would be due in 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Plenty of time after scratchings. If you want to save it until then.
Plenty of time. All right. We'll see you Sunday.
See you, Drifters.